Tonight, local businesses on the edge as South Australia's coronavirus case count continues to grow. And our region's dry spell set to end tomorrow.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. South Australia's tightened restrictions on pubs and clubs are in effect, leaving some Port Lincoln businesses anxious it's just the tip of the iceberg. Patrons at eateries have to be seated at all times unless ordering.
Getting customers through the door is the bread and butter for eateries, but new restrictions on licensed venues has some nervous.
But if we go into another shutdown, then coming out, it's going to be tough.
Starting today, pubs, bars and restaurants will only be able to serve alcohol to patrons who are seated.
That's all we can live with, but we're majorly concerned about more number restrictions in the venues.
Home gatherings have also been slashed from 50 to 10. The tough new rules follow a spike in COVID cases in South Australia this week. Hotels are starting to get back on its feet and hire more staff, but some say another lockdown would be catastrophic for the industry.
Everyone's just happy to be out and having a good time.
With Victoria recording 725 new cases and 15 deaths today, South Australia's government is on high alert. The state's transition committee is already monitoring density arrangements at venues, which could soon be next on the chopping block. Crowd numbers at footy games have already been slashed.
Hopefully they don't, and if they do, we'll just be following those as government guidelines.
With the school holidays fast approaching and the spring season just around the corner, eateries are hoping further restrictions won't be introduced.
We'll monitor and respond as we need to. We're hoping not. It would be nice to be able to keep at this level because we find that it's sustainable with the staff and the program that we've got running.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And SA Health is urging locals not to become complacent about coronavirus as fears grow of a second wave. A spate of cases discovered in the past week, some of which are linked to a cluster, has authorities on high alert. Residents are urged to continue practicing good hygiene and social distancing. Anyone showing flu-like symptoms is advised to get tested and stay home. An unlicensed wireless Stuart driver has been caught drink driving with a blood alcohol level more than 4 times the legal limit. Police received information that an intoxicated man had left a Wailanori hotel around 9 o'clock Saturday night and had began to drive home. Authorities located the 60-year-old man at his home address, where he blew .220. He received an instant 12-month loss of licence and will appear in court at a later date. Wyler's Ratepayers Association has slammed a planned rate rise, saying the community could not afford it. However, City Council says it's working towards a 10-year plan, also offering a hardship policy for businesses and residents.
It's been a hot topic around the city over the past few days. Whyalla City Council proposed a 3.6 rate increase, receiving a frosty response from sections of the community.
The ratepayers of Whyalla are totally rejecting it. We believe it should be 0, the same as in many communities right across Australia during the worst depression we've seen since the Second World War.
The association is calling for greater transparency about the rise. More than 800 locals have voiced their opposition, signing an online petition demanding a 0% increase.
They are outraged and they really want clarity and they want full transparency.
Very shocked, yes, I was. Yeah. Especially when you hear other places have gone to 0.
The association claims Cleve and Port Augusta councils have offered residents rate freezes, but council isn't backing down, claiming its proposal will eliminate the need for excessive increases for the next generation.
So if we're looking to grow our city over the next 5 to 10 years, we really need to be strong and consistent with what our rates are.
Council looking to invest the money raised into a number of planned infrastructure upgrades.
That is the smallest increase that we could see would enable us to deliver the new services and new capital around town, which is going to improve the livability.
Public consultation will be held tonight at the Whyalla Public Library. Due to COVID restrictions, only 20 patrons will be allowed in the meeting at one time, but Council will hold a back-to-back session if more attend. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Mid-North farmers are hoping forecasted rain beginning tomorrow will save their winter crops. Falls of 10 to 20 millimetres are predicted for parts of the state. However, some areas may miss out altogether.
It's the rain we've all been waiting for. 15 to 25 millimetres predicted for northern parts of our region over the next few days.
For York Peninsula, where I think the northern part of the peninsula is likely to see a bit more than the southern part. So less than 15 for the southern part of York Peninsula, 15 to 25 millimetres for the northern part.
The Eyre Peninsula will also be receiving a much needed drink, but some farmers may miss out.
Eyre Peninsula as well, sort of the northern parts are likely to be wetter out of this event, I think, in that 15 to 25 millimetre range.
Farmers had enjoyed a stellar start to the season. However, strong crop yields are under threat after South Australia recorded its third driest July since records began.
Yeah, the season's sort of come to a stopping point for rainfall in that respect, and we're just waiting. It's at quite a crossroads.
Locals are hoping the expected rainfall provide a lifeline, but experts say not all growers will be reaping the benefits.
It's going to be very good for the northern growers, but just based on what I've been looking at, there could be some areas down south that are going to miss out that do need it.
Agronomists in the York Mid-North will be keeping a watchful eye at the weather predicted over the next few weeks, with winter frost also posing a challenge for this season's crops.
All their crops in on time because we had good early opening rains, fertilisers going out, most broadleaf chemicals are going out, so they're set up, but we just need some rain this month and we need to avoid frost if we can.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, the member for Frome slams proposed privatisation plans, and the new regional development minister in the spotlight of a cuttlefish. Welcome back. Local MPs have united to stop a state government plan to privatise facility and maintenance services across South Australia. The member for Frome says the change could threaten regional jobs.
Vital services that could soon be on the chopping block. The future of the state government's Maintenance and Facilities Department is up in the air.
My concern is that in the regional areas, in my particular area here, including York Peninsula, there's just over 60 qualified contractors that can do work for the government.
He says fears are growing that jobs may be outsourced with no guarantees of work staying local.
Outsourced and a big company comes in and it comes in from Adelaide or interstate, then in actual fact our contractors in the local areas will be at a great disadvantage, so therefore they may miss out on that.
Regional contractors in Pirrie, in Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Lincoln potentially will miss out on work.
Labor's Eddie Hughes is also calling for these plans to be reversed.
The public are over privatisation. We believe that it doesn't serve the long-term interest.
The state government has hit back in a statement saying the changes will prioritise South Australia's employees and assist small to medium-sized businesses. But regional MPs argued local economies and job opportunities will still be dented.
It comes in from Adelaide or interstate, then in actual fact they'll bring their materials in here. So therefore there's another double whammy.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A new scientific study has revealed record numbers of Australian giant cuttlefish at Point Lowly near Whyalla this year. The new Primary Industries Minister has welcomed the positive result, but the opposition is still calling for more protection.
Cuttlefish numbers at a record high, but the member for Giles is concerned it won't be the case next year.
We've already seen with the alternative dive site, when the weather is bad on the southern side of the peninsula, no cuttlefish there.
Government estimates suggest the cuttlefish population is more than 247,000. Mr Hughes is calling on the new Primary Industries Minister to reintroduce protections which were lifted earlier this year.
It's an opportunity for the new minister to have a fresh look at this and do the right thing, because the current decision is treating the community of Whyalla with absolute contempt.
Minister David Basham welcoming the study's results, saying it reflects the aims of the Marshall government's fisheries policy.
It's exciting news for those people in Whyalla, both the fishers and the tourist operators.
He's confident the decision to open fishing for the world-famous species was the right call.
The fact that opening the fishery back up based on the science is the right thing to do. It's there to support both sides the tourism aspect, but also the fishery.
A permanent fishing ban still remains for the False Bay and Point Lowly area. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Regional Development Australia Far North is on the lookout for new members to join its board. The board aims to support growth and development within our regional communities, covering areas of industry, local government and small business. The Port Augusta-based organisation meets every 6 weeks to discuss issues and changes within the communities it covers. They're looking for locals with a passion for the region and expertise in business to consider joining. Applications for the roles close on the 31st of August. For more details, visit their website. Port Augusta's community services have gathered in Gladstone Square today to mark National Homeless Week. The event bringing together members from Housing SA, Uniting Country SA and the Salvation Army, handing out food, clothing and water to those in need.
We still feel that it's something where our staff are passionate and committed to supporting people to be able to access safe and secure housing. So, really we just want to provide what's available within the community.
Locals are being urged to contact a support group if they or someone they know needs help. A code blue has been activated for those sleeping rough in Kadina, Clare and Port Pirie. The alert will run until Friday. It's in response to extreme winter weather conditions predicted and guarantees homeless community members shelter. Residents are being urged to spread the word to those who need it most. Stay with us. A Port Lincoln resident shows off his rare car and plays tee-off for Port Augusta Golf Week. Australian motorcar history has been uncovered in Port Lincoln, with a rare 1973 Ford Falcon owned by a local revhead. The orange GT hardtop, one of only 2 in the country, with its sister car found in a farm shed in Queensland earlier this year.
A legend in the Australian motoring scene, the 1973 GT Ford Falcon was one of the top muscle cars. Only 2 were ever made in its unique orange colour, one ending up here in Port Lincoln.
They brought this special model out that had these polycarb extractors on, which made the car more competitive as a race car.
It's one of 120 vehicles built during the supercar scare in the 70s. Car manufacturers were building faster cars, prompting the government to step in.
Those cars got canned. Ford was sort of advised not to make them because of the high speeds, and the government was worried about people killing themselves in them.
Instead, Ford quietly put the parts on some GTs, which is what made the car a trailblazer. Someone sweet tooth inspiring the iconic look of the vehicle, the bright orange modelled off the Mick Robinson Old Gold chocolate boxes.
They ordered 2 in that colour because they like the colour, and one's got the white interior, which is the chicken coop, and this one's got the black interior.
The Falcon's sister, known as the chicken coop, was uncovered earlier this year, gathering dust in a small farm shed in Toowoomba. The car eventually selling for an eye-watering $300,000.
Hopefully in the next few weeks that'll come out somewhere.
For Hagan, who bought his GT in 2003 for just $8,000, it was a labour of love to help roar it back into life. The jewel in his shed, he says he'll never part with. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta's golfing tradition continues this week, with the annual Club Classic underway for 2020. In its 45th year, players from across South Australia will take to the fairways for a shot at glory.
It has a reputation as one of the biggest golf events in regional South Australia, and this year is no exception.
Visitors to this event have always been, quite large. This year is probably the largest we've seen, and whether it's because of the restrictions and the lockdowns, people are finally want to get out and about a bit.
Trevor has travelled to Port Augusta for the Classic for 2 decades, calling it a highlight of the city's events calendar.
I think it's the only golf week in South Australia now where they run full fields for a whole week. Just amazing how they organise it and how it runs so smoothly, and meeting all the people every year, it's really good.
Some players are seasoned veterans, while others are ticking the event off their bucket list.
First time at Port Augusta Classic, Golf Classic, and looking forward to it.
Golfers lining up to enjoy the lush fairways and greens.
The numbers are absolutely fantastic. We'll have close to 900 rounds of golf being played over the 5 days. The next 3 days, the field is over 200 each day.
Players from over 50 clubs will take part in this year's tournament, and while it may look like a simple game, players will be pushed to their limits this week. Predicted wet weather is expected to pose a challenge, however competitors aren't too worried.
This week, just camaraderie, have some fun, don't get too carried away with it, just play golf.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Time now to see how things are looking when we fill up the car. Here's Nathan Rector with this week's Fuel Watch.
There's been promising movement in fuel prices across regional centres in the past week. Starting with unleaded, Port Lincoln recorded a 1 cent drop, with petrol now averaging $1.18 a litre. Whyalla and Port Augusta remain on $1.16 and $1.22 a litre respectively. Port Pirie dropped to $1.17, while Kadina drivers received some relief to the hip pocket, dropping 2 cents to $1.15 a litre. Broken Hill sitting on the same from last week at $1.24, still the most expensive in the region. Meanwhile, Adelaide motorists are forking out $1.29 a litre, a 24-cent spike from last week. Moving over to diesel now, and it's a mixed bag. Port Lincoln remains on $1.17, Whyalla has seen a slight drop to $1.21, Port Augusta and Port Pirie haven't changed, with drivers paying $1.18 and $1.17 a litre. Kadina, Broken Hill and Adelaide drivers all paying a little extra. Now a quick look at Autogas, and all regional centres held their prices from last week. Port Lincoln, Port Augusta and Kadina all averaging 89 cents a litre, Whyalla 84, Port Pirie 82, Broken Hill 83, while Adelaide rose to an average of 74 cents a litre. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded diesel or Autogas for cheaper, make sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check the day's finance news and we'll have the weather details with Alex. Hello again. Time for a look at midweek finance. Shares were mostly in the red. Santos was marginally down, with the Bendigo Bank and Westpac dropping by over 1%. Iron Road and Elders were steady, while mining giant BHP was up. And the All Ords and ASX 200 both fell by around 0.5%. Time now for a look at what's happening in the weather across the Spencer Gulf and Broken Hill. With all the latest details, here's Alex Sykes.
Good evening. 16 degrees was the region's high today recorded at Port Pirie. It reached a top of 15 degrees at Port Augusta. Whyalla, Adelaide and Coffin Bay 14, Port Lincoln, Broken Hill, Kadina and Cleve 12, Woodner 11, Clare a top of 10. Bright cloud covered much of South Australia today, with a broad area of low pressure generating rain, showers and thunderstorms. Patchy low cloud over the southeast brought some showers in the wake of a front. Some showers may turn to snow overnight about the Flinders Ranges. To tomorrow on the Gulf waters, winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots, but lower in the far north, reaching 20 to 25 knots in the south through the morning. Seas at 1 to 2 metres with south to southwesterly swells. Port Lincoln, a possible shower tomorrow with a top of 12 degrees. Cleve, showers with a max of 10. Rain at Woodner, also 10 degrees. Whyalla, rain tomorrow with a top of 12 degrees. Port Augusta, rain and 11. Kadina, showers and 13. Port Pirie, rain and a top of 11. Clare, showers reaching 8 degrees. Broken Hill, rain and a max of 9 degrees. Looking ahead to Friday, showers across the Spencer Gulf region with rain at Broken Hill. Port Lincoln and Woodner both 13. Port Augusta, Whyalla and Kadina all 11 degrees. Port Pirie a top of 10. Broken Hill a top of 9 degrees. Saturday, cloudy about Broken Hill with showers elsewhere, maximum temperatures in the early to mid-teens. And Sunday, mostly cloudy with showers about the lower Eyre Peninsula. John, that's all for today's weather. It's back to you.
Thanks, Alex. And that's the local news this Wednesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we'll be back tomorrow night. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.